Hello and welcome to C++ Weekly. I'm your host, Jason Turner. Now, a friend recently told me that I have been forgetting to say that I'm still available for code reviews and on-site training, although I try to toss up the intro from time to time, so it might have just been an episode where I had maybe said something slightly different. Anyhow, in this episode, I want to, just remind you about the longevity of certain platforms and the portability and flexibility of C++. Now, before I get started, I'm going to also do a quick aside to tell you about a website that I've been working on. It's free. I'm not trying to sell you anything here. But I've got this cppevo.dev. I'll have a link to the website overlaid on the video right now. This lets you look at the evolution of the standard based on stable names. So I can look in algorithm binary.search and I can see what things changed from C++ 11 to C++ 14. I can see that nothing changed from 14 to 17. And then from 17 to 20, I can see that constexpr was added to the binary search section of the standard, and at any point in here I can look and see if there's a related episode. I can go to external links that'll take me right to the actual rendered version of the standard from here. And I also have this ridiculous adventure game that I've been working on where you can browse the C++ standard as if it were a text adventure game. So you could do something like go to decal.constexpr, and you can see related C++ weekly episodes. You can talk to the constexpr pirate if you would like to. Like this, we can talk about constexpr, consteval, treasure, static assert, whatever. All right, so anyhow, moving on. Theoretically, the point of this episode is C++ 26 for DOS. This is DOSBox running in a window, but you can run this on regular old DOS if you want to as well. And G++ isn't a valid file name in DOS and FAT file system, but I can call GPP and I can see I've got GCC 14.2 available, which is really, really recent. In fact, if I go to this other website that I recently learned about, CBP Stat, then I can filter for GCC, I can turn off C++ 20 and C++ 17, and I can say anything less than GCC 4.2.0, 4.2, there we go. And I can see all of these C++ 26 features that have been, in fact, implemented in the compiler that I am currently running in DOS. And you can download this compiler from delori.com/DJGPP. This website has been around for as long as I can remember. In fact, there's a very high probability that this might have been the first version of a C++ compiler that I ever downloaded. This is a port of GCC to DOS. It does require a 386, so it has to use the DPMI 386 extensions for DOS, but whatever, it works. You can download it from this website. Okay, going back to my DOSBox window. I have Vim installed because of course I do. And I keep typing ls, which is incorrect. And I just misspelled hello. Okay. Now, as you can see here, I have a program that includes print, and then it tries to call standard print. And now I can see some of the limitations of this, that there's a couple of things that seem to be missing from the standard library that's provided here. I can't use print, and I'm not 100% sure why. I've done some research on this. I looked for the missing files, and I was unable to find it. I'm probably missing something simple, or perhaps people just aren't testing C++ 23 features with DJGPP on DOS. Either is possible. So let's try something a little bit more simple. Let's just include IOStream for right now and make sure that this works. No, IOStream also doesn't work. We're going to have to do a little bit of research into this. Okay, it looks like we might be in a little bit of a roll your own kind of situation. Maybe more like you would expect to find in an embedded platform. Wow, I can't even get puts to work. That's weird. So the file is actually listed as cxx config, not C++ config. And I see that this header file is expecting bits/C++ config. Compiling natively on DOS, we seem to be hitting this problem that DOSBox does not support long file names from the Windows 95 era. There are extensions to DOSBox that support this, but I am not running one that does. So this episode will become C++ 26 on DOS, ? Of course, you can actually cross-compile for DOS, but that kind of takes some of the fun out of it, doesn't it? So we can't get this working, and we might be able to keep hacking at it for just one more second to see what happens. All right, I'm going to give up at this point on actually trying to use the standard library here. But we can at least attempt to prove that this is, in fact, a compiler that supports some C++ 26 features. I'm just going to do something like return 0 from main. And now let's see in here. Let's do an auto, my lambda of some sort. I'm going to declare this lambda as static and return 42 from it. And then I'm going to return the invocation of that lambda. Let's see if this does something useful. I should get a compiler error. Static is only valid with stood. There we go. All right. Okay, so as we can see, we do have some level of support, but I'm unable to actually compile this binary still, and I'm pretty sure I downloaded and extracted all of the files. Like I said, there are binaries available. You can build the cross compiler for Linux to do this. And really, the point of this episode was just to show how widely supported C++ and DOS still are, and I was able to find an old version of Vim to even use. I don't know, perhaps you found this little rabbit hole of fast-forwarded editing and attempts entertaining in some level. Perhaps you didn't, but thank you for watching this episode of C++ Weekly. If you have some old platform that you would love to see C++ on, do some homework and comment in the comment section on this video as to whether or not you found that support that you were looking for. I'll catch you in the next episode.